Hello and welcome back to episode 16 of Making a Brewery. It's been about a month since my last video. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. So yeah, it's been ages, but I've just been so busy that I haven't even got time to get the camera out whilst I've been doing so much work around the brewery. There's been a lot going on, and I'll show you that in a few moments. But yeah, we've been really busy over the last month. Things have ramped up significantly to the stage that we're literally, touch wood, just weeks away from being fully operational and open as a brewery. So I think I left on the last video explaining around my frustration around the licensing issue that we had applied nearly 3 months ago at that stage. So I'll let you know where we're at with that now. So after about 3 months, we still hadn't really seen any progress in terms of the manufacturer's license that we need. So I took the decision to reach out to one of our local politicians here in Cavan. I won't name him, but very well-known politician who I explained to him what had happened. We're waiting 3 months. We haven't heard anything. Is there anything that you can do? Lo and behold, after an hour of getting off the phone from him, I had a phone call from Revenue who wanted to call out and see the premises and advise me on the manufacturing license and what I needed to do. So happily, I think today is the 10th of March or the 11th of March, something like that. It's Wednesday anyway. So next Wednesday we have a visit from the Revenue officer to hopefully approve the premises. We've already, I think, been approved for the manufacturer's license, but we need to get sign off on this premises as a bonded warehouse. We've submitted our projections for the year, and we've been told that we need to put up a bond for tax liability of around €3,000, which is quite small, really, based on the fact that we're a really small brewery and the output will be really small and our tax liability will be really small. So that's really positive. We're hoping to have that part of the whole journey wrapped up within the next few weeks. We have struggled a little bit with the bond though, insofar as we were told we could either go to a bank and get them to put up the bond or go to an insurance company. An insurance company won't go near it because it's only €3,000 and it's not worth their while insuring it essentially. It would cost me nearly €300 a year to insure €3,000, which doesn't make any sense. I'm happy to put up the €3,000 in some form of bond. So I went to the bank. And interestingly, with the bank as well, because they essentially have to approve us for credit, which makes no sense, even though I'm putting up the €3,000, they have to go through a process of approval, which can take anything from 8 to 12 weeks for approval. Again, that's nonsense. So what I'm going to try do, hopefully, is approach 1 or 2 other insurers and see can they bundle the bond in with our insurance for the premises and our equipment, etc. And hopefully that will deal with that. Otherwise, I may have to pay it directly to Revenue, although I'm not sure if that's an option. Other really good news, I think on the last video I was talking about our local enterprise office application, the priming grant. So we had that in for the 12th of February, and brilliant news, we got approved for the priming grant. We didn't get everything we were looking for, but we got a good substantial sum, good chunk of change which will help us buy some equipment for the brewery, amongst other things. I'll show you some of the equipment that we've got based on the promise of the grant. So that's really good. I've been busy around the brewery as well, obviously putting new equipment in, and I'll show you all that in a moment. So we've installed a new bar just behind where the video is at the moment, and I'll show you what that looks like. We've managed to get our labels done for our bottles printed off, and we've some sample bottles labeled, etc. I've managed to install an IBC tank with the RO system linked up to the filometer from Kegland, so I can dial in exactly the amount of water coming through into the brewing system behind me. And I've been doing some work with pumps and other bits and bobs, etc. So I guess, yeah, let me take you on a little bit of I know I did a tour last time on the last video, but let me show you some of the new things that we've installed into the brewery. And hopefully, as I said, we're just weeks away from getting going. So let me show you what's going on. So you will remember, of course, on the last video I had installed some tables for our seating area for the bar, but we hadn't actually we hadn't actually installed the bar just yet. So yeah, we've been doing a bit of work getting the bar installed. So I've just installed my 3-tap kegerator in there for the moment, but hopefully I may get a 4-tap in there. So just built the bar for myself from OSB board, or chipboard, some people call it, and I've hooked up my CO2 on there. We've also bought in a lot of these flights, so 4 glass flights, so people will be able to sample the beers when they come in on the tour. We have got all of our labels done. So here's our 4 core beers: the Lanidrum, West Cavan Pale Ale, the Muckree Irish Lager, the Dove Irish Stout, and the Rua Irish Red Ale. So I think the labels look pretty cool. Really happy with how they turned out. Don't mind that sticker on the back. That's just so that I need that there's not actually real beer in that bottle. It's just water, so I could showcase the labels. My wife, Alex, informed me that because I'm so clumsy, I should stick a sticker on there. Otherwise, that bottle would potentially go out to a customer at some point, and it's filled with water. So we definitely don't want that. The idea is as well, we'll have, at the moment, 3 taps in here for when we run our brewery tours, and people will be able to sit down here and have a little drink. So yeah, it's nice. The bar area is quite nice. I'm quite happy with how it turned out. I'll also use this area as well here, potentially for our brew school. So I'll be able to kind of hook up the grandfather there, and people will be able to sit on these chairs here whilst I'm teaching them how to brew. So what else is new? Our boxes arrived, so you can see them up there. They're for 12 500ml bottles, which we'll be starting out with just bottles originally, and then maybe moving on to cans and kegs eventually. I think I showed you guys the last time that I had the bottles already in from Get Our Brewed, and I already had in my malts as well, and you've already seen the grain mill and all of that jazz, but you hadn't seen the RBC or IBC tank last time. So that's a 1,000 litre IBC tank, and I have hooked that up to a little, let me see, a little tap that comes out of there, which comes around the corner to this pump here, which is from Polsinelli in Italy. I think that pump is the Novax 20B, for anybody looking for those. So that's just hooked up to, it fits onto general tap fittings, and then that is going into our RO system, which took a little bit of setting up, but I'm really happy with how that is working at the moment. The waste pipe from that just comes out here, and it can go into the drain here. You may notice lots of gaps on the paint on the drain. That was essentially because, and also on this part here, and also all the way up there, I painted that floor whilst essentially the concrete was still wet. Even though the concrete was probably 3 weeks old or 4 weeks old, but it was still damp, obviously. So all the paint has just come up off that. It never actually took to it. So yeah, the RO system, the waste pipe comes off into the drain, and then the good, clean RO water comes into this 500 litre tank, which I had originally planned as a HLT. At the moment, it's just a water or RO water storage tank. So I think I have it filled with approximately about 400 litres of RO there at the moment. And then out of that tank, again, just using general garden hose fittings, that comes out of there. It comes into that pump, then it goes up there into the filometer from Kegland, so that I can dial in exactly the exact amount of water I want, and then another connector comes out of there. I've just unplugged the hose there, but that comes out of there, and then that will go into the Braunmeister, where I can I can set exactly the amount of water that I want to go in there, so there'll be no guesswork essentially. So that's really cool. The only problem, I guess, over here is if I do eventually convert this into a HLT, which is the goal, I won't be able to use obviously these type of connectors, and I believe the filometer, the maximum temperature is approximately 40 degrees, so that probably won't work for what I'm looking for. Just the kind of magnetic toolbar in there, which is actually not a really good spot for it because I keep on knocking off everything and it keeps on falling over. So next up, I mentioned, we had issues with the pump last time on the video. So I managed to disassemble the pump, put it together again, it was still leaking. And then I realized it wasn't actually the seal that I paid, or I was robbed of €180 by Spiedel for. It wasn't that actual seal, that wasn't the problem. It was more an outer O-ring seal, which needed to be replaced. I found that online on eBay for about £9 or €9, I can't remember. And when I replaced that, it's all hunky-dory, it's all good. So that's working fine now, all good. So the big reveal is, as I mentioned, I did get got approval for a grant for some money for equipment from the local enterprise office. And of course, I went out and splurged on these two wonderful, beautiful, absolutely adorable specimens. The Brew Tools F300s, including the fluid control system, which controls fermentation, and all the bells and whistles, like all the solenoid valves for the glycol chiller. Oh, sorry, I got this chiller as well from Brew Tools. Did arrive slightly damaged, as you can see there, just slightly cosmetic damage, and the good guys at Brew Tools did give me some credit back for that rather than me returning it, and it's working perfectly, so no need to return. So yeah, this is it's beautiful. I'm absolutely in love with these two fermenters from Brew Tools. They're so attractive. Shit, yeah, it's shiny. I'm a big fan of shiny stainless steel. So yeah, all the bells and whistles, like I have the carbonation stone in here, I have the sample tap thingy, I also have the inline filter. So the plan is actually, so once I'm finished fermenting, I don't think I will use this as a fermenter, this one. I think potentially, obviously the other fermenters will be fermenters, and I'll transfer in here for carbonation and last line filtration. And then as it comes out of here, it obviously has this handy, the regular liquid outpost here. So it'll go through the filtration system there, out through the liquid outpost, and then I'll just run it across to this here. Actually, I don't think I had this set up the last video either. So I have this set up for my duo filler. If and when I want to start canning, they will come through here. Of all the, probably can't see it here, but of all the lines hooked up at the back here, and everything's can be connected down here. And I also have my two eye taps here as well. So yeah, I've done a bit of bottling already with some samples, and that's worked out really, really well. And then obviously I have the capper there. I also have the can seamer, which I haven't used in ages, and it still needs a bit of work, I think, to get that right. And then I have the labeling machine, the MT50, which is, as anybody will tell you, an absolute ball ache to put together and get right. But my poor wife, Alex, spent about 2 hours at the weekend trying to get it right, and eventually she got there with it. So it's 99% right. When it finishes, when you kind of pull this thing down and the bottle rolls and the label goes on, there's probably a millimeter of label sticking, which you just need to kind of pull off and then smooth down with your hand. So it's not perfect yet, but 99% of the way is good. So yeah, there is the full view of the brewery. So yeah, where am I at now? So in terms, I haven't brewed anything on this big kit. And you may say, Derek, why not? Why the fuck not? All this beautiful equipment. Well, I am waiting for, I didn't buy a CIP system for this when I initially got it. And then as soon as I got it, I was like, oh shit, I need to clean this stuff. And I want to do it properly with CIP and give it a good clean. And likewise with these guys here as well. So I've ordered the CIP kit for that. I don't have a CIP kit for these guys, but I can kind of jig one up. The guy who sold me these fermenters showed me how he did his CIP cleaning using his pump lines and the pump which he sent with me, which is another one from Paul Sinelli. So yeah, I'm waiting for another delivery from Brew Tools, which should arrive next week, and I can do a full CIP, and then I'll figure something out with them as well. I guess the one area in which I'm struggling with at the moment is, so these guys, I don't know if you can see these here. These, no, that's a bad example because they have connectors on them. But these tanks come with a 1-inch male BSP connection for a cooler, or for the cooling jacket. And I'm just this is the part of brewing I'm really, really struggling with, because I've obviously never had to do this before, but I'm really, really struggling with which connectors I should use on that 1-inch BSP to reduce it down enough that I can then reduce it down to I think it's something similar to this line here, which is 18 mil outer diameter, 12 mil inner diameter. So I can potentially connect something there up to these fermenters, or I may need to buy a new chiller. I don't think that chiller is going to be enough to do 5 fermenters. Actually, it's definitely not going to be enough, I don't think. But I could potentially also hook up a ink board to them connected to a submersible pump that I could potentially just drill in. This tank in here, I think it's 47 litres of glycol motor, and it's obviously this one is driven by one pump itself, but I could potentially drill an extra hole or two in here and put a submersible pump in there, and obviously a re-entry pump as well, or re-entry hose to go back in, and then maybe control that through an ink board and or a few ink boards or whatever. And on these, I'm a little bit stumped on that. So brains trust, anybody watching the video, give me some advice on how I can get a chiller hooked up to these 4 fermenters, because with all of this fancy stuff where it does everything for you, which is great, but these guys are like the poor little cousins of these rich guys here. So yeah, I don't really know just yet what I'm going to do with them. I can just start off obviously brewing with these initially, and then I'll eventually move on to those as well. But yeah, maybe I need another chiller, maybe I need to hook something up to this. Please give me some advice. Okay, this area here, at the moment I'm just using for my grandfather conical fermenters for sample brews or pilot brews that I'm doing at the moment. But that area is going to need to be cleared out eventually, because I think I told you guys before, there's a cold room, which is like 2 meters by 1.5 meters going to go in there. So yeah, this stuff here will probably go along here, along this kind of the side of this. And this unit that I've purchased from IKEA, it's called a Kallax unit. I have stuck it on a frame, which also comes from IKEA, and then I think I bought those wheels. It's on a set of like caster wheels. I've bought them on Amazon or whatever, so I can wheel that down here, and it kind of makes it nice and flexible, and it'll I'll be able to move it around. And if I'm doing the brew school in here, I'll be able to flip it around, and it does actually fit exactly the distance between where that grandfather currently is to the end of the bar. So I could be essentially demonstrating here with an observant and obedient class of people sitting on those desks there in whatever way we decide to arrange them. So, is there anything I've forgotten? I don't think so. Oh, I think that's everything. We're more or less 95% of the way there, I would say. The office is the office. I think you've seen that already. My lovely desk in here. That's the office with the 2 fridges, one just regular fridge and one freezer for my hops and bits and bobs. This here is my gold medal from the National Homebrew Championships last year, which I'm reliably informed I have to stick up in the brewery, so it might take a detour from out of here somewhere. But yeah, that's how the brewery looks at the moment. Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it? Okay, right, I think I'm going to wrap it up. As always, if you liked today's content, please do hit the like button on the video, and if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, please feel free to do so to be kept up to date with what's going on in the brewery. So thank you so much for watching. Do please drop some comments in there, particularly if you have any advice around getting a chiller set up to them and what type of connections I can use, etc. Cheers, guys.